Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, you are aware that my office is in receipt of a letter dated 16 June 2020 from Hon Ahmad Gabnan Ali, the leader of the minority whip, giving notice of discharge of Hon Abdullahi Yunus Gulia and Hon Yusuf Maalim Dagane from the Budget and Appropriation Committee pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 1591 of Mandera County Assembly Standing Orders. You are further aware that the presiding speaker conveyed the notice of discharge on Hon Abdullahi Yunus Gulia, a member of Jubilee Party, from Budget and Appropriation Committee, which is in line with the provision of Standing Order number 1591 on Tuesday, 16 June 2020. Honorable members, you recall that the Deputy Speaker on further promised to give a ruling on Tuesday, 23rd of June 2020 at 2:30 p.m. with regards to the notice of discharge of Hon Yusuf Maalim Dagane from the Budget and Appropriation Committee, a member of Nakenya Party. Honorable members, as a speaker, I am duty-bound to give procedural guidance on as provided for in the Constitution of Kenya, the Standing Order, precedents and other parliamentary jurisdiction to ensure fair administration to our honorable members and adherence to the rule of law. Honorable members, I am also in receipt of a letter from Nakenya Party dated 15 June 2020, RIF NAK CAM 2021, confirming that Nakenya Party did not and has no coalition agreement with any political party. I am further in receipt of a Jubilee letter dated 16 June 2020, highlighting that the party is underrepresented in Budget and Appropriation Committee as it is entitled to 5 slots. The leader of Minority Party, Hon Jumale Abdi Hassan, stated that Jubilee Party has less one-shareable slots in the Budget and Appropriation Committee. The party also claimed that the Nakenya Party has 2 member slots in the Budget and Appropriation Committee instead of 1. The Jubilee Party further argued to have its fair share in the Budget and Appropriation Committee so that it can execute its party obligation. Honorable members, the issue before me today is to guide the House on 1, whether the minority party can discharge a member of another party who is not in coalition agreement, and in particular, a case to determine whether provision of Standing Order number 1591 was adhered to by the minority party in discharging Hon Yusuf Maalim Dagane, a member of Nakenya, from Budget and Appropriation Committee. 2, and my guidance on claims raised by the Jubilee Party in regards to less ratio slots in the Budget and Appropriation Committee and the appropriate remedy, if any. Honorable members, Before I give my guidance on the matter that requires my indulgence, I want to highlight on the following for the benefit of the House. 1, Article 185 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 vests the legislative authority of the county on the county assembly while respecting the principle of separation of powers. Members of the county assembly are entrusted with responsibility to undertake legislation and oversight to ensure that policies announced by the county government and authorized by the assembly are actually delivered to enhance transparency and enhance public trust in the county government. The preamble to the Constitution of 2010 recognized the aspiration of all Kenyans for a government based on essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and rule of law. Honorable members, our standing order outlined the provision for nomination of members of select committee as per standing order number 156 as follows. Number 1, unless otherwise provided by any written law or these standing orders, the Committee on Selection shall, in consultation with the County Assembly parties, nominate members who shall serve on as select committee. 2, the Committee on Selection shall give consideration to the need for gender balance and shall, so far as may be practical, ensure that no more than 2/3 of members of a committee of the county assembly, including committees established through a resolution of the county assembly, shall be of the same gender. 3, a vacancy occasioned by resignation or removal of a member from a select committee shall be filled within 14 days of the vacancy. 4, a member against whom an adverse recommendation has been made in the report of a select committee that has been adopted by the county assembly shall be ineligible for nomination as a member of that committee. Honorable members, standing order number 1591 states that the county assembly party that nominated a member to a select committee may give notice in writing to the speaker that a member is to be discharged from a select committee. Honorable members, the total membership of our county assembly currently stands at 48 members in terms of political parties. There are 4 parties with representation in the House, namely Economic Freedom Party, EFP, Jubilee Party, the National Rainbow Coalition Party, that is NARC Kenya, and the Orange Democratic Movement. Only the Economic Freedom Party, Jubilee Party, and National Rainbow Coalition Party, NARC Kenya, meet the threshold for County Assembly Party. Our standing order, under the definition of terms, define the County Assembly Party as a party or a coalition of parties consist of not less than 5% of membership of the County Assembly. The Economic Freedom Party, EFP, has a total of 27 members. Jubilee Party has 17 members. The Kenya Party has 3 members, while the Orange Democratic Movement has 1 member. Can I have a seat? Honorable members, the formula for sharing party slots, that is nomination of members to serve in the committee, is provided for in the Standing Order number 1571. The majority party, that is Economic Freedom Party, with 27 members, has got 106 slots. Jubilee Party, with 17 members, will get 67 slots, while Kenya has 12 slots. The remaining 3 slots were reserved for ODM. The total shareable committee slots was therefore 188. Currently, the shareable party slots stand as follows: Economic Freedom Party 106, Jubilee Party 63, Kenya 12, ODM 5. Total 186. 2 members of Jubilee Party, that is Honorable Ahmad Gabnan and Honorable Abdurrashid Maalim Osman, who were recently discharged from the Committee of Finance and Public Service Committee respectively, has not been replaced as per the provision of the Standing Order number 1563, which requires that the vacancy shall be filled within 14 days of the vacancy. Before I proceed to issue any guidance on whether the minority party can discharge a member of another party who is not their member, I want you to reflect on the following. 1. The records of Kenya Gazette, volume CX1X 2021 by IEBC, dated 27 August 2017, indicates that Honorable Yusuf Maalim Dagane is a member of the County Assembly elected by the people of Alango Gov through Kenya Party. Honorable members, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 lay a foundation for the legal framework of political parties in order to enhance internal democracy in Kenyan political system. Article 260 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 define a political party as an association invested under Part 3 of Chapter 7 of the Constitution. The Political Party Act 2011 provides the institutional, legal, and regulatory framework for registration, regulation, and funding of political parties in Kenya. The acts provide legal reference for management of political parties in accordance with Article 91 and 92 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Article 91 of Constitution of Kenya 2010 states, 1, every political party shall have a national character as prescribed by an act of parliament, have a democratically elected governing body, promote and uphold national unity, abide by the democratic principle of good governance, promote and practice democracy through regular, fair, and free election within the party, respect the right of all persons to participate in a political process, including minorities and marginalized groups, respect and promote human rights and fundamental freedom, and gender equality and equity, promote objects and principles of this Constitution and the rule of law, and lastly, subscribe to and observe the Code of Conduct for political parties. Honorable members, according to Section 2 of the Political Party Act 2011, a coalition means an alliance of 2 or more political parties formed for the purpose of pursuing a common goal and is governed by a written agreement deposited with the registrar. Accordingly, I have been notified that there is no record in our house to indicate that Kenya has a coalition agreement with the Jubilee Party or any other party. When the question arises, how did the minority party de-whip a member who is not a member of their party. The Jubilee Party has not adduced any evidence or any form of coalition agreement before or after the election between Jubilee Party and the Nakenya Party as per the requirement of the coalition agreement as set out in the third schedule of the Political Party Act 2011. These issues that I have isolated above set a very important basis for the guidance. Honorable members, I refer you to a similar precedent set by the Speaker of National Assembly on Justin Muturi on Tuesday 9 June 2020 on the internment of slots in the Select Committee and discharge of a member from a Select Committee by the parliamentary parties, and whether a member belonging to other party other than parliamentary party may be discharged from the Committee of the House by another parliamentary party with regard to issues raised by Honorable David Ocheng, Ugenya MP, member of the Movement for Democracy and Growth. The following is discharged by the minority party from the Departmental Committee on Health. Honorable Muturi issued the indulgence to the House that 1, the exercise of power of party is restricted to a member belonging to the particular parliamentary party, and those from the smaller parties who have entered into a formal coalition agreement as per the Standing Order number 176. Number 2, that no parliamentary party is to exercise the discharge of a party under Standing Order number 176 to remove a member who is not a member of a particular parliamentary party from any committee of the House. Honorable members, there is no lacuna in our standing orders in regards to provision of discharge of members from committee as it is provided for under Standing Order number 15912. Our democratic ideals call for mutual cooperation for orderly flow of business of the Assembly without coercing members to fulfill their political party interests. We must therefore, you can have a seat. The assumption of mutual agreement to work together for a common good does not necessarily mean that parties are in coalition agreement and the procedure of coalition is entered by the parties on the basis of pre-election agreement, which is adequately provided for in the Political Party Act 2011. Honorable members, my guidance on the claims raised by the Jubilee Party regards to ratio slot in Budget and Appropriation Committee and the remedy, if any. Standing Order number 1571 states, in nominating members to serve on a select committee, the selection committee shall ensure that membership of each committee reflect the relative majorities of the seat held by each of the county assembly parties in the county assembly. Honorable members, the Jubilee Party stated in their submission of appeal that party represent the executive in Mandera County Assembly, and this is not definitely true. Can I have a seat? I repeat, the Jubilee Party stated in their submission of appeal that party represent the executive in Mandera County Assembly, and this is not definitely true. My reading of Article 185 of the Constitution of Kenya does not in any way indicate that the role of legislators is to represent the will of the executive. It is therefore important that we ought to observe the principle of separation of power between the executive and the assembly. As a Speaker of this House, it is my responsibility to ensure fairness and uphold the rule of law without fear or favor. I want to assure the House that my guidance on the matter is not inclined to party loyalty to the executive, but will be based on the provision of our standing orders and the applicable law in relation to fair representation in the committee. Honorable members, the issue raised by the Jubilee Party in regards to their under-representation in the Budget and Appropriation Committee raised some fundamental questions on the criteria of nomination to the Budget and Appropriation Committee. The membership of each committee ought to reflect the relative majority of seats held by each of the county assembly parties as per the requirement of Standing Order number 1571. The Jubilee Party raised concern that the Kenya Party got 2 slots in the Budget and Appropriation Committee. Currently, the Budget and Appropriation Committee has 13 members, of which 7 slots is allocated for Economic Freedom Party, 4 slots to Jubilee Party, and 2 slots to the Kenya Party. I want to bring to your attention that the Kenya Party has also 2 slots in Committee on Selection instead of 1. It's not only on budget. It is true that in Kenya, slot allocation to committee currently is within the maximum limit of their entitlement shareable promotion of slots. I further observed that Committee on Selection allocated 12 entitlement shareable to proportion to the Kenya Party, and therefore thereafter nominated its members to 12 slots to serve in various committees of the House, as I have highlighted earlier, on the current shareable slots. While it is perfectly the prerogative of the selection committee to nominate respective committee members to serve in the committees as domiciled in the Standing Order number 156124, 157123, 158123, I, however, observe that Standing Order number 1571 was not adhered to in regards to the party's shareable proportion in Budget and Appropriation Committee, and the matter that has been expressly provided in our Standing Order. Honorable members, having carefully analyzed the issue for determination, I hereby issue guidance that 1, the notice of discharge of Honorable Yusuf Maalim Dakhane from Budget and Appropriation Committee by a minority party has fallen short of fulfilling the requirement of Standing Order number 1591. Honorable Yusuf Maalim Dakhane is a member of Kenya and has no coalition agreement with any party, including the Jubilee Party, and therefore the decision of minority party to discharge Honorable Yusuf Maalim Dakhane from Budget and Appropriation Committee is contrary to standing orders. Number two, on issue raised by the Jubilee Party with regards to one slots in Budget and Appropriation Committee, I have observed that the formula for nominating members to serve in the committee is provided for in the Standing Order number 156, 124, number 157, 123, number 158, 123. However, it is my considered view that the provision of Standing Order number 1571 was not adhered to in regard to the party's shareable proportion slot in the Budget and Appropriation Committee and on Committee on Selection. I have also observed that the Jubilee Party has been excluded from the fair shareable in Budget and Appropriation Committee. Turning to question of number 3, turning to the question of appropriate remedy, we are all aware that a member of a committee can only be discharged as per the provision of Standing Order number 1591. The prayers raised by Jubilee Party and the discrepancies in the allocating shareable slot can only be rectified through a moving substantive motion by the relevant parties in reconstituting the Budget and Appropriation Committee or any other committee that has fallen short of fulfilling the requirement for Standing Order number 1571. In order to enhance fairness and to coordinate party issues, I direct that the Kenya Party members sit and elect its whip among themselves as soon as possible. I also recommend that the House amend the provision of Standing Order number 1591 on the discharge of a member from a committee in order to give an opportunity to a member to be heard by the party so as to enhance our parliamentary democracy. The House is guided accordingly. Thank you.